Let's focus now on female genital mutilation, or FGM, a global human rights violation affecting an estimated 230 million women and girls. While laws banning the practice exist in many countries, enforcement is often weak and survivors face significant barriers to justice. A new report by Equality Now, supported by the Thomson Reuters Foundation, looks at how strategic litigation is being used around the world to strengthen protections, close legal gaps, and defend hard-won laws. We now speak to Sally Ncube, Equality Now's regional representative for Southern Africa, about the findings of this report and the role of courts in the fight to end FGM. Sally, thank you for joining us for this very important topic. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. Hope you're well.
It's our pleasure. Why in 2026 are we still talking FGM, female genital mutilation? As we know, it's a human right abuse. It has also been banned in other countries, a lot of countries, in fact. It's unlawful, but we still are battling to do away with it completely.
So the thing is, while female genital mutilation in quite a number of African countries have been, there are laws that are against or that are anti-FGM, we still have religious practices. We still have communities where survivors of female genital mutilation do not access justice and are not aware of their rights. And communities also are not aware that it is a violation of human rights and that it is a serious crime, and that there are laws and processes to protect survivors, or there are laws and processes to ensure that perpetrators are held accountable. So with weak enforcement mechanisms, the duty bearers like the police, the duty bearers, the prosecutors not being adequately equipped on the interpretation of the law and how to support survivors, it's creating a gap between the rights holders and the duty bearers and quality or even access to justice. For those that are also living with disabilities, whether they are visually impaired or they also have sign language, there are also access to justice and information challenges in that most of the information is packaged in a manner that those with disabilities cannot easily access information to get support, to get even legal aid, and to be able to have an opportunity for the support they require or protection they require as victims or witnesses.
So in this new Equality Now report, you speak about the role of courts in the fight against it. But let's talk about the strategic litigation that you touch on. Can you explain what this is and how it helps survivors?
So when we talk about strategic litigation, it is a process whereby there are cases that are identified which will result in systemic change. When we talk about systemic change, it's change that is broader than an individual complainant or an individual survivor. It's something that is broader to a point that when that case goes through the court and a decision is given, it set precedents that then becomes a tool of advocacy or a tool of interpretation of the law and applying of the law beyond an individual case, but for generations to come and even across borders for other countries. It also creates a front line for accurate interpretation of what the law provides for. And it brings FGM out of the shadows to a point that it becomes in the public space. It raises awareness. It stimulates dialogue. It also creates a space for survivors to gain confidence that there is a law that works and that is a violation. And perpetrators also retreat. It has a deterrent, effect. And when we look at judgments being given, we look at court decisions, they also showcase where the law is lacking, where there are gaps, where there are loopholes. And it actually creates or accelerates political will, where there is no enforcement, where there are gaps in government investment and delivery in terms of government obligations to protect the rights of women, girls, and survivors. So when the courts decide on a matter that is related to FGM, it brings to light FGM that is normally in the shadows. It creates an interpretation of the law and exposes the gaps that are existing. And some of the decisions even give direction to the service providers from the health, from the psychosocial support, from other social protection measures, which will in turn create a support mechanism for survivors to be protected and an enabling environment for those whose rights have been violated to come out and speak out. And some even enforce for government and duty bearers to act. So when FGM is in the courtroom, it is really making it serious that FGM is a crime, it's a violation of rights, and duty bearers have to act.
As
And
much
this
as
is
there are
how they
challenges
can
and
act.
there are those who struggle to access justice, let's just, as a final point and a brief one, give an example then from the report where you've seen taking a case to court making a real difference for a woman or a girl.
So, for example, when we look at the case of Kenya, when there was a judgment that actually brought in a decision to show in the outlaw, we could see that there are now clawbacks, or there is now organized resistance in trying to work backwards the hard-won gains around the law. So some were bringing in justification around FGM being an issue of people practicing their own religious rights, or sanitizing the violations with the medicalization argument of it. So the court ruling and the decision that came from the Constitutional Court of Kenya actually continued to affirm that FGM is a violation of rights, and it continued, and it did not put any exceptions on religion and medicalization.
Great. We're going to leave it on that positive note. And thank you so much, Sally, for your time again.
Thank you for having us. And tomorrow being an international day to end FGM, we call on all actors to play their part, and for us as different individuals with our different expertise, and appreciate this media platform for taking FGM seriously as a human rights violation and a serious crime that we need to end impunity through the law and the courtroom, and supporting communities with education and support for survivors.
Our absolute pleasure. Sally Ncube is Equality Now's regional representative for Southern Africa, speaking to us live this morning from Nairobi about the role of courts and strategic litigation in the fight against FGM, or female genital mutilation. 7:31 Central African time it is. Let's get our news headlines. Here is Jwalani Tulo Ngwepe.